Hey everybody, it's Kerry Hartley here, host of the show, Millennial Moguls in the Making, podcast and YouTube channel, and I hold millennials accountable to changing the world. Today we're breaking down an awesome topic that I used to ask a whole bunch, and I know others are asking the same question. Do you need to be a real estate agent in order to be a successful investor in the real estate space? So let's break this topic down. We're going to look at pros and cons of both sides. And full disclosure, I am not an agent or a broker, but I do have people in my circle of influence which are agents and does agency work as well. So let's go into the topics. We'll start off on the end that I'm more familiar with, and that is on the investing side. So without any further ado, let's dive on in. Now, on the investing side, we have a few things that help us to push the narrative and to be a little more aggressive. And that's the freedom to be an investor. That's my number one pro tip for you if you're looking to go on the investing side. As an investor, you are able to make really good solicitations to sellers. You can reach out to sellers similar to how agents do to find their contracts and agreements in order to sell properties. But for us, we are literally going in to buy it. So we can be as creative as we can be. Of course, we want to follow the guidelines and the laws of your local states. And if you're international, follow the laws outside of the U.S. borders. However, when we approach sellers, we can be a little bit more flexible. We can understand the narrative, and we know we would like to buy this property. So we're bringing the offer to the table to actually get it done. And on the investor side, one of the good things about being creative is sometimes you never know what the seller's situation might be. They may have a whole different reason for selling their property outside, and lo and behold, it might be something that's really beneficial for your offer. So being creative on the investing side works a whole bunch. Our second most important reason on the investing side that helps you to be successful is the fact that you really get to hold the property, right? At least that's what I say, right? If you want to get in on real estate, one of the most important things in the real estate space and the investment reason for you to invest in a property, better said, is the equity. The equity, right? Why would you want to give away the equity? You can make money fast. You can wholesale. If you are on the agency side, you can make commissions. There's a ton of things. You can flip the property for a profit. But on the equity side, you get to keep the property long term, and you get to see the appreciation. You get to see the gains, and you get to write off the loss. I am not an accountant, nor can I give you legal advice. But for me, just personally as an investor, I love equity, right? I want to go in on a property and I want to keep it long term, and I would love to see that on my P&L every month, and I would love to see it help my net worth go up. And I love the cash flow. Now, on the third side, what helps you as an investor is your opportunities are very limited when you are not looking for properties to buy. But when you get in, they're abundant, like they're everywhere, they're vast, it's endless, so many opportunities. You never know when something happens in someone's life. So as an investor, if you're in that space and I don't know if you're familiar with driving for dollars, if you drive around a location near you or near a property that you want to buy, you never know if someone, you just stumble across, have a conversation. It turns out they're looking to sell their house and they're looking to sell it in a week. For me, I buy apartment buildings, so I never want to miss out on an opportunity for a great property. Apartment building syndicators and sponsors and people who own them, they typically don't want to sell them to all the time. So when a property is actually available, you want to jump on it, you want to round up your funds, do your capital stack so that way you can buy that property as soon as possible. So that's my three favorite, I would say, pros to being on the investor side: the creativity, the capability to keep the equity, as well as the just speed that you can move on a deal. Now, on the agency side, remember, I'm not an agent. My business partner is actually in the process of getting his license, and I'm always around other agents as well. One of your biggest benefits is that commission check. Now, I know it's kind of misunderstated on the last side, on the investor side, but on this side, you get to keep the commission. So now you're going in on both ways. When you buy a property properly for yourself, or even for your own business, you could keep the commission that you might have to give up when you're working in negotiation with a seller. So if you're on a property, and this is just for investor agent side, I don't know all the laws and the legalities of being an agent, but I've seen these things work here, at least in Georgia. So when you go in and you're investing on a property, you are an agent, you get to represent yourself, right? So you get to keep half that commission. And if we're talking about, for us, when we buy multifamilies, that could be a six-figure check, and you get to keep that in-house instead of giving it up. Sometimes as an investor, we have to leverage and to really make our I'll say our offer more appealing. So what we do is offer both sides of commission. And that's not money that we get to see coming back. That's literally just us saying, hey, we really want this property. We're unrepresented, so we would love for you to keep both sides of the commission. But as you could be your own agent on some deals, and that could keep you some money. And then guess what? When you sell it, you get to keep the commission for selling it. So that's I say number one. Number two, the knowledge of you understanding how to package together lending, how to understand what's going on in the market, you being around sales happening every single day, maybe being underneath a great firm, a great brokerage that teaches you some of the insights and some of the things you don't know about the market and the connections, right? So the knowledge is so deep that you get to get while you're going through the real estate course, while you're going through taking your exam, being in real estate professional organizations, just being a realtor, maybe working your way up to a brokerage, having other agents underneath you, bringing that energy. So the knowledge is just abundant. It's something that I feel puts you at an edge when you are an agent. And then number three is the reputation, right? There's some firms that have built up a huge name for themselves, and they have hundreds, maybe even thousands of agents that work every day to push the brand, right? So you get to keep that when you go underneath a firm. When you tuck your hat underneath a firm and you get to be an agent for someone, now that whole catalog of clients and reputation for doing good and changing and people's word of mouth marketing in the neighborhoods, like here in Atlanta, you can see certain signs underneath the same brokerage. It puts some mental ability for you to think, hey, I'm gonna sell my house. Let me go to this firm. Let me go to this person. And that's great for you because now you don't have to do any work marketing. Like me, I make YouTube videos. It's amazing, right? But I have to spread our brand. I have to really push the narrative to let people know what Hartley Capital is. For you as someone that is investing or maybe an agent, you get to go to a firm, build your name under something that's already established. That's my top three there. I would definitely say the ability to keep commissions in-house. Then you have the education, as well as the ability to work underneath a reputation that's already been established. Now, what's some of the gray areas here before we head on out? Now, you could be an investor and you could be an agent, or you could just be an agent, you could just be an investor. One of the gray areas is, do you need to have a license to start investing? No, you do not. That is false. You don't. You can start investing. Some people never become agents. It's a part of the industry. Real estate is large, right? It's very diverse, and that's a piece of the industry. You do not have to go into this industry just being an agent. That's like saying you're in the medical field, but you have to be a dentist. But what happens if you want to be a pediatrician? You don't have to be one type of professional in this industry. So, with any further ado, I hope I answered your questions and I made it as simple as possible so that way you can go out there and start crushing it. If you're interested in being a real estate agent, please check out the link above, or you can find it in the description below. There's a great opportunity for you to start learning and taking the courses you need to become an agent. Across all 50 states, you can check this site out. It's right below in the description below and the link above. I know a lot of my friends in the agency, they've used this source as an opportunity to start their second job when they wanted to go in the agency because they had a 9-to-5, but they could take the classes at night. They're really simple. From what I'm hearing, it's very affordable, and it gets you the hours that you need in your state, so that way you can take the exam and you can start crushing it and maybe closing on big buildings like that behind me. And who knows, man, 6-figure checks, maybe even you're looking at 7-8-figure checks if you get big enough buildings. But anyway, I want to encourage you. I also want to give you the opportunity to do that and maybe even further your career and become an agent and crush it. I love to work with you here in Atlanta, and we're also in Florida. As well, if you're interested in becoming an investor, I do have a course that I'll put up over here, and it's the 20 total myths for millennial apartment investors and real estate investors. My apologies, but this will break down some of the myths. Like this one, this is actually one of the myths. Do you need to be an agent? So it'll just go through all of the steps that I think that many people go through in their head that block them from getting into real estate, and more importantly, going into apartment real estate investing. So I hope this has been beneficial. I'm glad to be here with you. As always, it's Kerry Hartley, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show.